The Unseen Sharpshooter, a woman's fight to rewrite the rules. The Texas sun beat down on the Austin SWAT training ground, a slab of concrete baking under a cloudless sky. Emily Harper stood alone, her boots planted firm, surrounded by 20 male candidates. Sweat beaded on her forehead as Captain Daniels' voice sliced through the heat. "This ain't your place, Harper." A few men snickered. One, a burly guy named Travis, stuck out his foot as she stepped forward, sending her gear crashing to the ground. Phones came out, recording. Laughter echoed. Emily knelt to gather her things, her face unreadable. As she stood, her jacket shifted, revealing a glint of a military medal tucked inside. For a split second, her eyes met Daniel's steady, unflinching, like a storm waiting to break. They thought they'd humiliated another woman trying to play hero. They had no idea they'd just crossed the wrong sharpshooter. Emily Harper, 34, lived in a modest East Austin apartment, the kind of place where neighbors nodded but didn't pry. Her home was spotless, with a locked cabinet no visitor ever saw and 2 framed photos on the wall, one of her parents at her college graduation, another of a military unit in Afghanistan, taken days before it all went wrong. Daughter of a schoolteacher and a nurse, Emily grew up quiet, steady, and underestimated. After college, she joined the Army as a logistics specialist. At least, that's what the paperwork said. What it didn't say was that she'd trained some of the deadliest marksmen in the 5th Special Forces Support Group. When she came home, she tried to leave the sand and blood behind, but a 911 call changed everything. 3 years earlier, Emily had held her best friend, Sarah, another soldier, as she bled out during a training exercise gone wrong. A rookie's mistake, poor communication, and a system that failed her. That night, Emily made a vow. If no one else would fix the broken pipeline, she would. She took a job as a 911 dispatcher in Austin, guiding officers through chaos with a steady voice. But during a school shooting, as she talked an officer through a tourniquet while gunfire crackled over the line, she realized she couldn't fix the battlefield from a headset. That's why she signed up for SW and not for glory, but to make sure no one else died because of a broken system. At the training ground, Emily faced a wall of skepticism. The men saw her as a diversity hire, a token for the department's PR. Conversations stopped when she entered the break room. Smiles turned brittle, voices sharp. One morning at a local diner, she overheard Detective Larson mocking her. "She thinks she's Rambo, but she'll crack under the gear's weight." The table roared. Emily paid for her coffee, walked out, and sat in her car, gripping the wheel until her knuckles whitened. They didn't know her. They'd learn, one bullet at a time. Emily trained alone, rising at 4:30 a.m. for 3-mile runs. No music, just breath and pavement. Her spare bedroom was a gym weights, a pull-up bar, no mirrors. She logged every rep, ate the same breakfast, followed the same discipline she'd honed in Afghanistan. At the department, she was invisible, a ghost who didn't correct the jokes about her absence outside work. The less they noticed, the easier she could move. But the instructors made sure she felt their disdain. Captain Daniels, a decorated Marine with a chest full of medals, called her ma'am, like it was a slur. In simulations, he gave her a faulty radio that cut out, leaving her stranded. When she faltered under a 40-pound battering ram, Sergeant Brooks barked, "You want to be the reason civilians die?" The men got encouragement, Emily got blame. Then came the updated standards, a tougher obstacle course, doubled pull-ups, a surprise weapon disassembly test. Daniels smirked. Chief's orders. Everyone knew who they were targeting. Emily didn't ask for fairness. She prepared for war. At the assessment, the men got cheers, she got silence. She gritted out 12 pull-ups, arms shaking, and finished the course 3 seconds under the limit. The disassembly test? Her combat maintenance skills kicked inch past with ease. Daniels stared at the scores, betrayed. "Barely," he muttered. Emily met his eyes. "Barely is still passing, sir." The isolation grew heavier. No congratulations, just whispers. "She's making us look bad." Team-building events mysteriously filled the firing range when she booked it. Emily sat in her car one night, uniform still on, clutching her Medalla Silver Star from a mission no one here knew about. Quitting would have been easier. Then her sister's text lit up her phone. "The day you quit, they win. It's not just about you." Emily exhaled, not at peace, but resolved. Support came unexpectedly. Emails from female officers in Dallas, Houston, and beyond. Keep going. We're watching. Her story spread, not by her doing, but because barriers breaking make noise. They weren't cheering for Emily Harper. They were cheering for what she represented, a crack in the wall. The pressure mounted. Quitting now would let down every woman waiting for their shot. Final qualification week was electric with tension. Chief Thompson and Deputy Chief Ellis showed up, along with city council reps, claiming routine oversight. It wasn't. This was a verdict. Daniels unveiled a firearms course designed by Special Forces consultants, multiple targets, changing distances, stress variables. He looked at Emily. This'll separate the operators from the tourists. Smirks flickered. Emily's hands flexed. Not nervous, just ready. One by one, the men went. Some nailed it. Others missed targets, jammed weapons. They got pats on the back. Solid run. Emily watched, silent, running the course in her head, angles, cover, trajectories. When Lieutenant Carter called her name with a smirk, bets were whispered. $10, she hits half. Emily stepped up, checked her weapon, and closed her eyes for a half second. Lips moving a memory, not a prayer. She kissed her medal, tucked it away, and the buzzer sounded. Bang, bang, bang. 3 shots, 3 center mass hits. The murmurs stopped. Emily moved like a machine, surgical, not flashy. From kneeling to prone, left cover to right, she flowed, slicing corners with military precision. When her weapon jammed conveniently, she cleared it in 2 seconds, never blinking. Target after target fell. The final shot, a near impossible distance, landed dead center. The scoreboard flashed. New record, 12 seconds faster, 100% accuracy. Silence blanketed the range. Daniels rechecked the numbers, jaw tight. Chief Thompson stood, face unreadable. Carter broke the quiet. Where'd you learn to shoot like that? Emily holstered her weapon, voice calm. Army marksmanship instructor, 5th Special Forces support team. I trained the people who built this course. She paused. It was in my application. You just didn't read past dispatcher. The room froze. In one sentence, Emily exposed the system's failure. They hadn't tested her fairly. They hadn't seen her at all. Chief Thompson asked, "Why didn't you say earlier?" Emily's gaze was steady. "I thought this program judged what we do, not what we say." By evening, the footage leaked. Clips spread through officer chats, then to the press. The local news, once skeptical of women in SWAT, ran, "Former military instructor smashes SWAT record." Emily's name trended on forums. Reporters dug up her silver star, her role saving 3 soldiers under fire in Afghanistan, none of it in her police file. Chief Thompson's phone rang off the hook. Council members, lawyers, the mayor's team. The department scrambled, backdating commendations, claiming they'd always backed her. At a press conference, Thompson announced Emily as SWAT's newest member, smiling for the cameras. Emily stood stone-faced, knowing this was damage control, not progress. But what mattered wasn't the podium, it was the door she'd kicked open. Anonymous tips flooded internal affairs, exposing Lieutenant Carter's altered standards to disqualify women. He was reassigned to desk to signal the old rules weren't untouchable. Captain Daniels offered Emily a marksmanship instructor role, a fast track to prestige. She declined. "I didn't come to lead shooting. I came to be part of the team." She'd earn respect as an equal, not a symbol. Emily met with HR, outlining training gaps and gender biases with surgical precision. Her suggestions, practical, not loud, were quietly adopted. She started a Thursday night program, teaching female officers to shoot under pressure, move through doors, stand steady. When a senior officer called it favoritism, she invited him to watch. He saw women train harder than most recruits. "I'm not asking for leniency," Emily said. "I'm building resilience." Her methods were soon part of the academy's curriculum, no credit needed. 6 months later, a hostage crisis hit a downtown office. Emily's unnoticed detail, a hidden service corridor, became the team's winning strategy. No shots fired, 14 lives saved. In debrief, Daniels said, "Harper's read saved lives today. That's the standard." Nods followed, real ones. A teammate offered her coffee, a small gesture that said everything. She wasn't the woman anymore. She was one of them. Emily's influence grew quietly. Dallas and San Diego departments asked for her training methods. Female officers called late at night, seeking advice on surviving SWAT's culture. She answered with drills, not speeches. Two new women joined Austin's SWAT cyclino pranks. No mockery. When one struggled, a male trainee stopped to jeer. That talk doesn't fly here anymore. Emily watched from the range, arms crossed, knowing the door she'd cracked was staying open. One evening, a young recruit asked, "After everything, why stay?" Emily looked at her. "Because I believe in what this can be, not what it was, but what it could become if enough of us stay and fix it." The recruit nodded, something settling in her. Years later, Emily stood on the range where she'd once been tripped and mocked. Recruits, men and women trained in sync, correcting each other, no sabotage. A whiteboard listed top scores. Her name was still first, but her eyes were on a recruit's note. One more rep. If she did it first, we can do it better. Emily turned off the lights. Her legacy not a headline, but a system where no one had to prove they belonged. What do you think? Emily's story isn't just about one woman, it's about fighting injustice and violence in a system meant to protect. Would you stand your ground like Emily, or is the cost too high? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about where you draw the line on fairness and force in today's world. Your voice matters.